The Shadow Crew Podcast.
I could never tell what country he was from in that movie. Blood Sport, where he like looks at the camera.
Little Irish dude walking around doesn't sound like that's going to go too well.
Volume 2, that's the best spaceships of all time.
He-Man's powers.
It does come with its own castle.
And he dies in the first half.
Oh no, sir! He's in the entire film. Sit back, get your popcorn, and enjoy your note taking on that epic film. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is time, 7 p.m. Pacific time, right here streaming multicast, the Shadow Crew Podcast, episode number 26 on the Shadow Knows Network. I'm excited because today is a special occasion. Now, we've done the Box Office Graveyard Awards at the end of the year. We've done a lot of best of series, but tonight we conclude part 2 of the best comic book film ever. If you tuned in last week, we debated and we narrowed the field down to the top 32. And now in a bracket format, ahead of the March Madness, we declare a winner this evening. Are you all excited about that?
I am, but is it called part 2 or Pardue? No one? Right.
Yeah. Well, I will say I'm excited after seeing our new intro for the last couple of weeks, because it does have a way of just hyping this up behind the scenes. I got to tell you that.
I'm excited because we debated quite a bit about some of the movies that did not make the top 32. I'm surprised that some didn't make it, and then for others, it was a very clear-cut, decisive answer. But I was looking at the bracket earlier today, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting what we collectively decide. But we'll set up the rules in a little bit. Again, thanks for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, follow the channel. Thanks for tuning in. If you're with us live, drop a comment, and/or obviously if you're watching this after the fact, we appreciate you all tuning in as well. But before we get started, before we jump into the main topic of the evening, a couple of different things to start the day. And I think the first is this past week, Disney announced a handful of things. There's some new stuff that's on the horizon. But one thing that was pretty shocking was 1.3 million subscribers were lost in Q4, which
I don't think that's shocking.
I mean, but that's a big number though for and that is a big number in a quarter to lose that many. And so I guess the question is, there's price increases. We could have a lot to do with it, but I think collectively we agree. I think it's a content opportunity. So let's discuss 1.3. That's a big number. Why do you think that happened?
Well, first off, I'd like to say that I want to keep these quick because I know we're going to have a big debate happening. However, I think that the drop is due to the fact that no one over there is listening to anybody on anything that anyone else is saying, and the content just sucks. There's nothing good that's come on there, and all the stuff that's good for like kids to watch or whatever, like I'd rather just go buy it and then own it, and then I could play it on something. I don't have to worry about it because it's just like there's nothing good. There's zero good things coming out for Disney that justify me paying what I would pay for that.
Yep, I'm one of the ones that did not renew my subscription.
1.3, huh?
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I watched was like Ahsoka and Echo, I guess. But there's just not enough for me to justify it at the moment. If
Well-
they actually start doing some good stuff again, maybe I will. But The Mandalorian is going to a movie, so it's not going to be on Disney. So
Yeah, you know what? It's. I believe that Chet's absolutely right on this, and I think also Dr. Brentley. It mostly it's a content point. You know, they weren't producing good enough content. 2023 was probably their worst year of content.
Hands
And
down.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, when it first started, we were able to, you know, you had the Mandalorian, then you had to wait for like I think WandaVision, and I can understand it when you're launching the channel. But you know, they can come with the stuff, oh, it was due to the strike and everything else like that. It's like you're not producing enough content to charge people this the same money. If it was cable, if they went back to the Disney Channel and they were just people would be dropping cable. If you do not have something in the queue constantly waiting and constantly ready, then that goes to show leadership, planning, and just overall understanding what your audience is. Because at like what's it, $10.99 now or $13.99? What's the price of it now? When it first started, I believe it was like
$6.99, I think.
yeah,
$6.99.
It was extremely reasonable. We could lose that type of money. You know, you're not going to think about it. But now with them, you know, they're dropping in. And first of all, one thing I will say, I think the reason why too they lost it was the commercials. Because I switched my plan to the commercial plan because I'm like, I just don't think there's enough content for me to pay this higher amount. And they absolutely, for a place that created television and movies, they do not know how to schedule commercial breaks on Disney Plus. It is an absolute, it's like you start off and it's a commercial, you go 30 seconds after the title, then it's a commercial, then it's like they don't know how to do television, no owning ABC. So I'm sure that pissed off a lot of people as well.
Yeah, but the problem is with these streaming people is everyone went to streaming so they didn't have to do commercials, and that was what's been pitched the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just commercial. It's all it is commercial stuff. Like for whatever reason, I pay for Hulu. There's actually stuff on Hulu that I find that I watch that I enjoy, that I could go back and watch that I enjoy, which I don't find on the Disney Plus network. But I pay for the commercial free version of Hulu, and for whatever reason, like yesterday or the day before, the commercials were popping up in my account. And I was like, well, what's not like the typical commercials, just like a quick 5-second whatever right before the show I'm gonna watch. And I was like, now we're getting a little weird because what are we trying to do? And I just think that people had this idea that they would pay for streaming. They don't have to deal with commercials because people didn't want to deal with commercials. And now you just charge way more for ones that don't have commercials, and your content sucks. You know, like Netflix is keeping me only because I've seen their roadmap, and it's like I could get behind whatever you're doing here. But
I'm gonna, I will say this. I know we're talking about content lately. The content, there hasn't been enough of it, but I think the problem has, and we've talked about this previously, is I think it was an oversaturation of content related to specific franchises that killed it. Because I think they focus so heavily on the Marvel and Star Wars universe that they could have done so much more original content outside of those, and then sprinkled and layered in some really meaningful content where you look forward to. Like the reason why Mandalorian was successful is it was like the first ever Star Wars TV series that everyone had begged for years and years, and finally, and then then they introduced another kind of Star Wars thing, and Boba Fett. Okay, that's cool. And then here comes another one. I think that's still okay. But then now you got Marvel, right? And it was like the first thing you saw from the Marvel universe was like a spinoff from the films, right? And you saw, Captain America and Winter Soldier, and they're like, that's kind of cool. Then you saw, Hawkeye, and all of a sudden these other characters, and it just became less special, and it was too condensed. And so they missed an opportunity to spread that out over a few years and develop original ideas. You didn't have to blow your wad on all these different comic book characters that you didn't do good enough job to do anyway. But I don't think it was needed. You don't need every month a comic book TV series. And
Sure.
now we've talked about it, but like Marvel's kind of stale. Like people are just not excited.
What?
Like you could release the best damn Marvel TV series ever 2 months from now. I don't think anybody's resubscribing because there's like, oh, another Marvel thing. Like, who cares?
They didn't give anyone a chance to get attached to any of the characters. They just were like, here's Loki, here's Hawkeye, here's this, here's that. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with this. You know, I don't have a desire to pay attention because I'm going to get into this series. It's going to suck by episode 3, and then I'm going to have to worry about something like we talked about this a few podcasts ago. Echo had lots of potential, and it just hit the floor. Like
the ball was dropped on that.
Yeah, it's like you should have left it the same amount of episodes because then it wouldn't feel like you just smashed everything together and tried to do it. It was like the fight scene, the opening fight scene we had talked before any of us had seen it. We were like, that was great, but then like there was nothing else like at all. You had to bring back Daredevil, which was fine, but it's also like you just made me want to go watch Daredevil and not finish Echo.
But I think the Echo cleaned up the mistake that they did when we saw Daredevil on She-Hulk, and they had ruined that character.
I didn't know.
Then they were like, "Oh yeah, he wasn't for."
Yeah, because I did not watch She-Hulk,
and I think they immediately said no, the fan backlash, and they removed the Marvel version of him, and then he went automatically back to the Netflix kind of Marvel version of him. And I was like, okay, so a lot of times they're experimenting, and I just don't think that you could. This is not a process. This is not independent. The IFC channel. This is Marvel. You better have your stuff together, and you better be ready to put it on. I don't know. I don't have cable anymore.
Yeah, I do think so. Well, the only reason I subscribe is I've got a little,
of course,
kid, and but for the general audience, I think they're going to struggle. And I know Bob Iger said they're going to be more strategic on the amount of films and TV series that they produce and the amount of money. We'll see. We will see. I know they just announced like Toy Story coming out, and 26, and some of the other like Frozen and Moana and all this stuff that people are like, where's that? And then obviously Star Wars, there's a big article in the Empire magazine about like, Hayden Christensen's getting some love, which is great. So like what the future holds, give us a Darth Vader series. What are we waiting for? That's all. Like that, and do it right. If you could do that, it would be incredible. But moving on to other topics. And again, for those of you listening, we will get to in just a few minutes the best comic book film of all time. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for tuning in this evening. But on a positive note, or maybe not a positive note, another Predator film or TV series. I don't even know what was announced. Was it a TV series or a film that they're doing?
It's like Prey. It's going to be another film, but
another film
dropped on Hulu.
Do we need another Predator film?
I don't think we need one. I thought Prey was a pleasant surprise, but there's an up and down. Prey had so many historical inaccuracies that if you sat down and you thought, like, when they announced it, Apache Warriors versus, and then you see what they did, and you're like, well, wait a minute, this is off. It still was entertainable. I don't know if this next one, they're saying it's going to be a futuristic setting, and it's going to be a female lead in this. And I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with, like, the people that have these franchises. And like, when you have these testosterone-based franchises, and then you do such a dramatic shift, like, you're really kind of playing with fire when it comes to fans. I don't know if a second film can pull it off. We're going to have to see. Same director's coming back, though.
And if you don't create a character like Ripley or Sarah Connor, it's not going to work.
No. No.
Yeah.
And this is a new film. You got to introduce a brand new character. So you're going to have the natural buildup of who this character is, and have people have the, like, and get to, want to see this character's plight. And I think that, it's kind of hard to do that film after film after film and keep some continuity going,
Have they done a half human, half Predator character yet?
They did in the comic books, but I've never seen.
That'd be kind of interesting.
I've never seen it done on film.
Yeah,
they did that half alien, half Predator. in
Well, yeah, unfortunately
yeah.
they did that.
HGPR.
I was telling the crew earlier, I think a Rambo versus Predator in the jungle. Sign me up, $30, IMAX, Blood-O-Vision. Just make it the most.
Blood-O-Vision.
Just
4D.
They spray the audience with
yes,
blood.
just the most like graphic. Just people just being killed, and I think it'd be epic. That's what, like, to your point, Alex. That's what we want to see in a Predator movie. You know what I mean? Like, the first one's so good because it's a bunch of just meatheads with their shirts off and high caliber weapons through the jungle facing this alien. Get back to the roots, man. That's what we want to see.
Yeah,
That's what we want to see, brother.
Lastly, Halo, Paramount's big bet, just released this evening. The second season of Halo, obviously based off the video game franchise. Mixed reviews on season 1, big budget, insider information, even a bigger budget season 2. Are you all looking forward to this? Are you excited? The early reviews, scattered fans / critics have given it a really great score on Rotten Tomatoes, but that could change in the next 72 hours. But any interest in Halo season 2?
I watched the first season up until episode 4. And then I just thought, and I'm not a big Halo fan. I remember seeing some of the Halo animation in the past, and I was like, okay, this is an interesting property. I've never played the video game. And I watched the series, and I thought, well, they spent a lot of money on this. Let me see what it is. I thought the special effects were terrible. It looked like the alien wasn't even in the scene. And I when they said how much money they spent, I was like, I couldn't see it. And then it seemed like it was a like when back in the days, how we are syndication. Whenever something came from like Canada or Europe and they tried to put it on to like Saturday night, that's exactly the way this series
Roger
seemed.
Corman presents
like the Red Green Show.
Yeah, it was like,
or the RoboCop show.
or like the original Highlander back in the the Highlander TV series. It wasn't shot in the US and it looked like that. And I was like, I was way disappointed because again, I saw the animation. I was way disappointed in it. And I just didn't finish the series. So when I heard it got a second season, I thought, like, look, I thought there's no way no one I knew talked about that first season. I didn't think it was going to come, but you spend $1 billion capturing a franchise, I guess you're going to actually give it a couple of seasons.
We will make this work no matter what. We have to. Yeah, I never had an Xbox, never played it. And from everything I read about the first season, I didn't even bother. So...
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm a massive Halo fan. Like from jump, Halo came out. I saved up all the money I could to buy the Halo Green Xbox, and I played that game until my thumbs broke off because it was a great game. But that's when Bungie was doing it, and the storyline was fantastic. Like, it's just something that hadn't been done before. But I have zero desire to see this live action dumpster fire because I've been informed to watch my language. So we'll call it a dumpster fire. I tried to watch the first season. The problem is that it's just not like, again, this is the problem. Like, we're watching stuff based off of something that no one cared to watch or research on, and so we got a real shitty TV show. And it's not the same. And I agree with you. It's like you see the aliens come out, and you're like, well, are they like? Was this? It's like Sanbon with the Power Rangers, where he's like, well, I got these two shows. Yeah. And I could just cut them together and never show them together, and they'll be a hit. And everyone's like, "What?" And it became the Power Rangers. But, I'm not a fan of it. To be honest, you could find all of the cutscenes from all of the Halo games put together on YouTube, and that is a fantastic movie. And that's so.
I'm gonna give it a shot. I mean, if the reviews still trickle in, we know there could be some paid reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, but if the fan, like the audience score, which I think I pay more attention to, continues to rate it high, I'll give it a shot. Like I read some things about the virtual, the effects budget going up, and they've improved some of the things. So as long as the story in that looks better, I think I'll give it a shot and watch one of the episodes and see. It'd be great because I think there's need to be another watchable franchise to compete with some of these other things. And I'd hope that Halo was good. The season 1 was not very good. So we'll see. We'll give it a shot. But early on, some good critics and fans review. So, all right, gentlemen,
start
your engines. I'm excited. As a recap, we narrowed down the field last podcast to 32 of the top comic book films. Again, feel free to comment if your favorite film is not on the 32. We tried our best, but again, it's our take, not yours. And we are going to do in a bracket format debate and narrow down the field to number 1. Now, I would say in the past, we've done bracket formats and we end in a tie. And so I would say if it does end in a tie 2-2, and we can't convince one of us to go to the dark side or the light side, that we use Rotten Tomatoes and box office, any awards that the film may have won as a determining factor of who moves forward. So if you're all in agreement, I think we can get started. Any last thoughts before we jump into it?
Look, healthy debate, okay? Because there's some in here that I'm going to be upset about.
It's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is going to be Sparta. I'm just saying.
Well, without further ado.
Okay, first off, can we start with, does anyone have a prediction?
Let's see. If I do a prediction.
No, I think you know what? Then I think
prediction?
that no, because then that shifts you're gonna then maybe lean heavy towards ultimately a film that you predicted. So I think chat, I think that's a form of cheating. I'm gonna say we can't. No,
you're out of here.
You're out of here. Chet, you're gone.
Okay, we'll bring you back.
And he's back. Okay.
I got kicked out.
Yeah.
All right. A bracket of 32, and we start round 1. Watchmen versus Spider-Man 2. Already a tough matchup.
Spider-Man 2.
Watchmen.
I gotta say Watchmen.
Really?
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 visual effects was horrible.
Look, I like Doc Ock, but Watchmen was just a pretty accurate kind of like film.
Yep.
It was long, but it was accurate,
Well,
except for the entire third act. But
it's only so much.
But who sat through that anyways?
Yeah, exactly. Most
I did. I bought the 4-hour version with the animated thing.
Did you like the Watchmen TV series?
Actually, I did.
Okay, well, there you go.
There you
go. It's down to you, Chris.
This is a very tough one for me. I'll be honest
with
you. I think part of the influence is that like there were other Spider-Man films after this that I think were better that might influence my decision. However, as a huge Watchmen fan and the graphic novel, I don't think it lived up to what it could have been. And Spider-Man 2 beat expectations that I had. And so I'm leaning towards Spider-Man 2 as the better of the films. So, can anybody be convinced of one or the other? Chat, Mr. Storm, do you feel?
I gotta say, man, the whole Rorschach story is what sells me on that movie every time I see it. You know, the prison scene is probably one of the most violent prison scenes I've seen. It was just a great movie, man. I can't. We're gonna have to go to the Rotten Tomatoes. We have to go to first time the tiebreaker.
What was it?
Yes,
you think you're locked up with me?
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
I love
I just
that scene.
just give
Oh,
me
wait, you think I'm locked in with you? You're locked up in with me or something like that.
what. So I don't know how. I don't know what the driving force is behind Spider-Man 2 over Watchmen.
Well, let's go here first. Rotten Tomatoes, Spider-Man 2 has 93% critics, 276 reviews, and over 250,000 audience score of an 82%. Watchmen, the movie, I'm going to pull it up here, has a critic score of 311 reviews at 65% and an audience rating of 71. So clearly the fans and critics have spoken on the better film.
Obviously, there's a lot of trash opinions out there.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, Spider-Man 2, you've got the train sequence.
Yes.
Which is fantastic. You've
You
got
got the
Doc Ock at the
sequence
bank.
where he's like swinging through the buildings and the wind's going the wrong way.
Oh, well, that's obviously a terrible... Forget it. Yeah, Watchmen. Because the wind is going the wrong way? Come on.
Because they fucked it up.
Thank God for bad VR.
Quality control here, people.
Well, we are at a tie.
All right,
but Rotten Tomatoes and
Says
box
it's Spider-Man
office
2's.
and
Spider-Man
box
2.
office revenue,
That's
Spider-Man 2 is the victor.
Okay.
It's
okay.
good.
Hey, Zach, we tried, brother.
I feel like Dr. Brantley is being sarcastic with me and didn't really want to go with.
No, never.
Next up, we have the Joker Joker and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the animated film.
Before we get into this,
I told you this is not. If you think this is going to be like we blew through last week, no, it's not going to be.
Clint Eastwood said the answer is Blade with Wesley Snipes. Blade wins. Calling Watchmen an enjoyable comic movie is like calling Microsoft Excel a video game.
Boy,
Dr. Manhattan's lightsaber was pretty legit.
Jeez, boy, they just know how the comments always hurt so much.
Yes,
I'm gonna say on this one, as much as I think that was a really great animated film, I tend to lean more live action, and Joker was the better film for me.
Look, unfortunately, it's going to suck on this and shit. But even if we said Into the Spider-Verse, the box office just kills Spider-Man. So we might as well just say Joker. Let's fucking just say Joker.
I was going to say Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I'm not the biggest Spider-Man fan. I am a huge Batman fan. And there was stuff in the Joker that was great. One of the best things, which couldn't stop laughing at in theater, when he kills everybody in the room and lets the little guy go, but he can't reach the door lock. That's one of the best things I've seen in a movie in a long, long time. But it's not like a fun movie that I want to revisit and watch over and over again. Spider-Man, I can watch a ton. Joker is like, you got to be in a real specific mood to sit down and watch that.
True, but if we go to a tiebreaker, we damn straight know Joker wins.
Joker's winning.
Come on.
Well, let's see. Chet has yet to weigh in.
Yeah, that is correct. So, two ways I think about this. What they did with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was very like, it was fun to watch because it's like all of the Spider-Man you're seeing come out, which was like fantastic. Miles Morales was awesome in it. Like, it had all my favorite stuff. It was great. Joker, on the other hand, I walked the line on Joker because we've never really gotten like a really good glimpse into what makes Joker. And so I think and there were some books that touched on it, but never like got into. Joker is one of my all-time favorite villains ever created, hands down. I like the film. There were parts about it that definitely disturbing. I do love the part where they can't reach the door.
Both Academy Award winners.
Yeah, they are, which is nuts. But I will say that he did such a good job of the Joker, especially because he was going up against the last person to do the Joker, which was Heath Ledger, and no one's going to beat Heath Ledger at the Joker.
Sure.
So I'm going to go Joker on this one.
Joker's the winner. Yep. And I would say too,
I do want to share this Clint Beastwood. This is a tough one. Joker versus Spider-Man. Do you want to get kicked in the balls or punched in the balls?
Yeah. Look, here's the thing: is like I get you have to be in the mood for Joker, but
You do.
I think it was the telling of a story of the creation of a psychopath and an epic villain, and may not be super rewatchable, but I think it was intended to be that. Like, geez, what makes the Joker tick? So Joker is the winner. Moving on to our next competition, Wonder Woman, the original new take on Wonder Woman, and 300.
Oh, this one's a fucking no-brainer. Jesus Christ.
I've got the hat. It's 300.
Like, you've got to say, come on, brother. Let's put it like this. I know Gerard Butler's never come on the show, so it's easily say that it's probably one of his only entertainable, watchable movies.
You didn't like Gamer?
300 makes the cut. It has some of the best lines, and I think it's probably pretty faithful to what Frank Miller did in the actual graphic novel. There are certain moments where it's taken out, but it is 100% up there. Thank you, Clint.
Yeah.
Thank you, Clint.
I mean, it's easy for me too. 300. Wasn't this like the first like this put Zack Snyder on the map, really?
Well, Dawn of the Dead.
Did, yeah.
But I mean, this was
this
like,
is what
it wasn't Baby Punch or whatever that movie was.
No, Sucker Punch, and it was an actual Sucker Punch if you bought tickets to it.
Okay, anybody
And
voting for Wonder Woman here?
This is the best Wonder Woman
it is
thing ever made, but it's not 300.
Yep, agreed. Okay, well, 300 it is. Next battle.
I have a suggestion. Let's put pop-up blockers on your browser next.
Yes. Well, we're secretly collecting ad revenue.
There you go.
Those who are viewing.
And if you
Disney bundle.
If you go down and click down onto that and everything at PetSmart, we get it $5 to every person buys dog food for this.
And your computer's touchscreen, so just tap it right now.
Exactly.
But also don't forget to subscribe because we know you don't.
Exactly.
Deadpool versus Thor Ragnarok.
Deadpool for me.
Deadpool. Yeah.
Yep, that's a pretty easy one.
Although the best Thor movie.
Yes.
But it's not Deadpool. Deadpool came out of nowhere with a style that people hadn't seen before. You know? And that's hard to do, especially in a comic book movie.
Agreed.
Can we get rid of this ad with these people doing makeup?
I don't.
But
then it does that like weird thing.
Does it?
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. At least
don't worry, audience. We promise you when the bucks start rolling in, we'll fix all this stuff.
Road to Perdition, based on a comic graphic novel, and Avengers Endgame.
Look, I love the Road to Perdition. I think it's probably one of the secretly best graphic novel turned movies in Hollywood.
Yeah,
but it ain't beating the Avengers. The Avengers was epic, and I'm sorry, it was just both films are entertaining, and I think Shawn Mendes Sam Mendes, did a fantastic job with that movie. But it's the Russo brothers, just like
they killed it. They killed it with Endgame.
Yeah,
it's entertaining.
I can't go against that one, man. It's easy for me.
Yep.
It might be one of the best 15-minute, 20-minute sequences in comic book history.
Yeah.
The end battle. Like, that could be another best of, but I don't think there's much that can compete with that.
Well, I will tell people, if you haven't watched The Road to Perdition, you should, because it's absolutely worth the watch. Paul Newman gives a magnificent performance along with Tom Hanks and there's just so many great actors in that movie. It's definitely worth the watch, but it ain't beating the Avengers.
Daniel Craig in one of his first roles too.
That's right.
I agree with you, Clint. I agree with you, brother.
Well, Avengers beats this round. Extraction versus the OG 89 Batman.
Oh, geez. It's kind of tough, but I sat in the theater
it's
in
not tough,
1989.
It's not tough.
It's
Batman.
Batman.
Batman. I'm with you.
It's tough because again, I like Extraction, but screw Extraction compared to
No. I mean, I remember sitting in the theater when Batman came out as well.
The Manhattan Beach 6, they turned into a Batcave.
No, I was at my aunt's house in Arizona, and Batman came out, and my dad was super excited to take me. So we went, and then my dad also smacked me in the mouth when I repeated what Jack Nicholson says when Batman's holding him over. He's like, Jesus Christ, whatever that was. My dad was like, don't say that shit. I was like, oh, all right.
There you go.
I mean, you think about it in comic book lore, comic book film lore. We just talked about the 20-minute sequence at the end of Endgame. Is there a more iconic "where do they get a load of me" in comic book film history? It's got to be in the upper echelon of characters.
Look,
and it's one of the best show. Like Jack Nicholson started how amazing Joker on the big screen could be.
First of all, I'll give you credit. It's not since the early 80s and maybe the 70s. It has it legitimized Danny Elfman, where people just thought like, wow, this guy can compose music.
Oh yeah.
And second is it's the most bitchinest Prince album of all time next to Purple Rain.
Yeah.
Bro. So
yeah,
it's got everything that you needed and more, man.
Yep. All right. Next, Guardians of the Galaxy versus
Easy for me, brother. Easy for
Superman.
Superman.
Absolutely. We sat in the theater and I believed a man could fly, and he did, man.
I mean, it's the coolest poster, I think.
Oh man.
I mean, the OG Superman. I think this was one of my favorite fun, no expectations, sitting in the theater and being blown away by Guardians of the Galaxy, but obviously the original Superman just better overall. But Guardians for sure I was blown away. Chet?
I want to say Guardians, but like the original Superman, it's really well done, especially for the time it came out. Like, just I don't know. I think that it's got to be Superman for me. It's like every Superman or Superman show that has been made has always been compared to this, and it's just like I don't think anything's touched it. And as much as I liked Man of Steel, and I think that Henry Cavill, like you're not going to get a more perfect Superman than Henry Cavill, and that was a very good movie. But the original Superman, hands down.
Okay. Doctor Strange versus Captain America: Civil War.
You know, if it was, he's absolutely right on that. Yeah, Clint. If you don't, Richard Donner doesn't make that movie, you don't see anybody else making any other movies.
And he also made another point too in the comments, which is that Superman showed that the superhero movies could work.
Yeah,
very true.
And also, that movie was the reason why Jerry Segal and Joel Shuster, if it wasn't for Neil Adams, they would have not got a credit and also an actual pension from DC. So, it helped a lot within not just films, but also in comics.
Yeah.
With this one, look, I thought Doctor Strange was a very good movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised at how well it was. Especially since I think the last time we saw Doctor Strange was in like the 1980s on NBC. I will give a Civil War, Spider-Man's reveal. I'm sorry for ruining the movie for everybody. And the Black Panther, you got me at that, brother. Civil War.
Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah, same. Although it's a tough one because Doctor Strange, maybe if it was competing in another film in the bracket, could have made it to the next round. But when you're comparing it to this film, it's hard to beat.
Now, I love the end of that movie where he has the time loop and he just goes for how many times. It's brilliant, but it's no Civil War.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a reason why it made it into the 32. It deserved to be in there.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Mm.
Well, we're now into the second round of the brackets left side,
Mm.
and we have Spider-Man 2 versus Joker.
Joker takes it.
Joker. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Same.
And I know Chet's saying the VR. Yeah, Joker.
Okay. Oh, 300 versus
geez.
Deadpool.
This is Deadpool for me.
I think 300, brother. I'm sorry.
300.
300.
I gotta say Deadpool.
No.
I gotta
Well,
I
we
gotta
have to
see
go with the
Deadpool because
critics.
it was like a character. I think part of the reason is because it was a very unknown character to the casual fans.
True.
And I know, Dr. Brantley, you had said it was just like a different take on comic book films. It was like violent and also like breaking the fourth wall and then funny and like it was like Ryan Reynolds was designed, like he was born to play this role.
Well,
And he was like, sorry for doing Green Lantern, but this is
Exactly.
actually who I should have been playing.
Well,
he did in Wolverine Origins.
This is his third time that he's done more superhero failures than anyone else to have. But the fourth time was the charm, because you look at Deadpool or Wolverine Origins, look at Green Lantern, and people forget that crappy performance in Blade Trinity
3.
So
yeah, but this was one of the
charm.
But this is one of the first movies he had control over too, though.
Well, I think he just played. Look, he has a very good way of playing himself in most of these movies. The character is always a wise ass, no matter what he does. It just worked in Deadpool a little bit more.
Now,
but I'm sorry, I can't take a Rob Liefeld property over my man Frank Miller.
In 300, though, this is the first time that they've made a movie that looked just like the comic book. This hadn't been done before, and then they did Sin City and a couple other things, but this is the first time. Like, how the hell did they do that? And the effects looked so good that and you find out the whole thing was done on a green screen, and to get that look. But I don't know, this is the first time, like, in the theater, I was just amazed. Like, every second of it was a painting. Beautiful.
Well, let's go to the Rotten Tomatoes.
It's gonna have to be Rotten Tomatoes.
This is going to be close too on that.
It will be, and we could use box office revenue as well. So 300, the critics score, 236 reviews, only 61%. So the critics weren't a big fan of it.
What the hell is wrong with these people?
But the audience score, 250,000 plus 89%. So obviously, but the critics were not a big fan of it. Probably more because of the heavy on the visuals, maybe less on the story. And then Deadpool, the critic score of 348 reviews, 85%. So the critics were much more of a fan of Deadpool, and audience score of 90%. So on the Rotten Tomatoes, Deadpool wins in both. But that's not the end all be all. Let's just check Deadpool box office real quick just to compare.
Of course, they were also made 20 years apart, so
we could adjust for
probably gonna.
We could adjust $1 or $2 for inflation.
So Deadpool made $782 million against a $58 million budget, made back in 2016. It was the highest grossing rated R film at that time. And then we'll do 300 box office. 300 boxes made $456 million. So we can adjust for inflation, obviously, because it's 2007. It was the 24th largest in box office history at the time. Also, in terms of awards, it won in the Saturn Awards, winning 2 Best Action Adventure Thriller Film and Director.
What did you say? What did you say? Okay, how much did they make?
It made $456 million.
And what was it? What was its budget?
Let's see, 300 bucks. Let's see. The budget was $60 million.
So if you just compare budget versus
Deadpool beats it in all of the things we're discussing. Although Deadpool didn't win any awards, 300 did get some awards, like some independent, some Saturn stuff. So the numbers, tell the story here. But again, I know we're a tiebreaker, but any last thoughts? 300 was great, but I just feel like Deadpool both of them took it to a different levels. But Say your
Deadpool
piece.
takes it.
I'm just saying, how many quotable lines are you saying from Deadpool as opposed to 300?
Yeah, the scene where he kicks him. I mean, is like again one of those scenes that will live forever.
Tonight we dine in hell.
Yeah, it's true.
There's a lot of stuff in there, but
It's true.
Oh man, let's see, let's sleep breaking.
All right, Clint Beastwood. What are you saying, Clint? Are you saying 300? Or are you saying Deadpool?
Yeah, give us one. Yeah.
Hold on. Let's see if he gets to it.
Clint Beastwood.
Yeah, he's a tiebreaker on this one, man, because I can't. I
think Deadpool, the revenue makes sense.
The revenue is good, but also too, you're thinking about, from 2007. It's
Well,
here we go.
We're going with.
He said 300. I don't care about Van Wilder getting a sword.
There you go, brother. I knew this is the reason why we live in the comments.
All right. We need anybody else in the chat. This is how much we care about you.
Exactly.
Oh boy, this
is
a tough one.
This
is
Batman.
gonna be tough. I'm sorry. I just think Michael Keaton's performance in '89. There's no more epic movie than that one. Technically, there's no Avengers.
It was Michael Keaton nailing Bruce Wayne and Batman at the same time, while Jack Nicholson was killing it as the Joker.
Endgame is way better than Batman '89.
Jesus Christ.
This '89 Batman was great. It's why it's here. But Endgame's the best, in my opinion, Avengers movie. And just my opinion.
Endgame is the best Avengers
movie.
But all time, if I had to sit
before Batman '89, it's yes.
If I'm on a hospital and they're telling me that I've got one last film and shit before they pull the plug, and they're going between Avengers and Batman, I'm like, roll Michael Keaton because he's got so wonderful.
Mr. Storm, if you are on your last thing, we're snapping Thanos' fingers because Avengers is a better film. But we have not heard from Dr. Brantley yet.
Unfortunately, it's Avengers.
Yes,
it had so many more
epic.
Let me tell you something, man.
Enjoyable
at
moments.
This moment, it's been.
I love Batman.
We've had our friendship as long as that damn movie's been in the theater. '89, and that just did it. If there's anything that ruined our damn near lifetime friendship, was that comment right there. Over 1980, we stood in the theater, man.
Look,
theater.
Do I need to check Rotten Tomatoes and box office?
And I've seen Batman.
We know the
box office. We know the box office.
I think we just go critic score, Rotten Tomatoes.
Shit.
Because I'm not budging on Batman.
Okay. All right. Batman. Here we go. Batman, the original one. The tomato critic score 76%.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And audience 84. Oh. So 76.
Avengers
not looking good for Batman.
And Avengers Endgame critics 94%, audience 90%.
Yeah.
I think it's very clear what the better film was, although the iconic, legendary Keaton Batman, but not better than Avengers.
As much as it pains me to say this, Dr. Brentley, you won't be getting shit for your birthday this year. Done.
Dr. Brantley, I will send you a Captain America shield for making the right decision. But I'm sure Mr. Storm's not sending any Batman stuff your way.
Nothing. It's done. Our friendship's over tonight due to this.
Okay.
Now,
we do a
Clint
bracket
is right
for
about
friendship.
the VFX. If it wasn't for the VFX, Avengers would suck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If they had to do what Batman did with no VFX except like matte paintings and miniatures, Endgame would not be what it is.
Yeah.
But,
Don't try to clean it up, Dr. Brentley. Don't try to clean it up. Shit.
Okay.
Superman either.
Versus Captain America.
If anybody says Civil War, I'm cutting off the cast and I'm walking out of the show. Right?
Now, see,
if anybody says that,
Superman beats Civil War.
It better, damn it. Shit.
I don't know, man. I mean,
it's not even the same
Spider-Man's debut. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
No,
bro.
Superman gets it. I'm
Yeah,
just joking.
come on,
But
right,
it was
man.
such a good film. Anything else? We got 3 or 4. Chat weigh in. Superman.
Oh,
or
I'm
Civil War?
Superman.
Okay.
No,
All right.
Superman.
Joker versus 300.
That's Joker.
300.
I think, I thought Deadpool should have advanced, but we listened to Clint Eastwood on this one. But comparing these two, I think 300 is better.
I think it's a comic movie of all time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Joker is really great. It's obviously made it to the final 4 on this side of the bracket, but I think 300 is a better film.
Yeah.
I've
more
seen
rewatchable.
Joker once. I can watch 300 again right now, and I've seen it who knows how many times, probably over 50 or something,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Chet.
300.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Endgame and Superman.
Superman.
It's Endgame. It's Endgame.
Superman.
I gotta say Superman.
You guys are Superman over
Look,
Endgame?
Unfortunately,
Yes.
Wait a minute. Are you telling
it beat Batman, but it can't beat Superman. I'm sorry.
Superman? So if Superman and Batman 89, what would you have chosen, Mr. Storm?
Between Superman and Batman 89?
Yeah.
Shit, that's a hard one.
See?
Batman.
So like
that would probably
ready
be
you were
I'll
ready
be
to-
honest with you. If it would I remember sitting in theater for both, but like Superman was like when you saw Christopher Reeves, first of all, he looked like Superman. When you saw him actually fly on screen, it was one of the biggest moments. I remember going back to school and people was like, wow, did you see Superman? Batman was awesome, but like Christopher Reeve embodied Superman.
And the music, John Williams, you can't do better than that.
Oh, that Planet Krypton sends chills up my spine every time it comes on, bro. Superman would beat
over
Batman.
Avengers Endgame. I can't
Yes,
believe
sir.
what I'm hearing.
I gotta
Chet,
say it.
Are you saying Superman?
I said Superman when this first popped
Oh
up.
my goodness.
Look, I just said it's I don't know.
No Superman, no Endgame.
Oh my, I don't even know what to say. Okay. And lastly, 300 versus Superman.
Did that hurt you so bad
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
had to pick Superman over Endgame? Because you didn't make a very good argument for Endgame. You just said, "Oh, Endgame."
Well, it's 3 against 1. There's no
No, but
like,
you can make an argument to sway people. You don't need to just give up.
Who am I swaying?
Anybody.
Like, Avengers across the board in terms of visual effects, all the iconic characters, the end scene, the conclusion to the most legendary franchise in Marvel history, to Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, the death of Iron Man, like all those things, like plus the money it made, Rotten Tomatoes. It's a clearer, better film, but I'm 3 against 1. It's clearly even the critics and fans agreed to, so Clint Eastwood's silent. It's okay. You must be a Superman fan as well. All good. I'm not saying Superman's a bad movie. I'm just saying I think Avengers is better. Okay. I do think Superman's better than 300 though.
Superman. Okay.
And yeah, if Avengers Endgame had Superman effects, it would not be.
Oh,
as
hell
good.
no. No, the effects definitely have it. But again, I always think that Christopher Reeve's performance is absolutely so honest and genuine that you really believe that he took that character off the page. Now, look, I think that the end game works, but like this Superman didn't destroy the DC universe. Now it was Quest for Peace that did it, but it wasn't this movie. But Endgame destroyed the Marvel universe. There was nothing else. It was their magnum opus, and it was done. We're going between 300 and Superman. Superman still beats it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Superman has won the left side of the bracket. Before we continue to the right side of the bracket to determine who is going to battle Superman as the best comic book film of all time.
I think it's right here.
I think it might be.
Like and subscribe, follow the channel. Thanks for tuning in. 7 p.m. Pacific time every Friday. Shadow Crew Podcast, episode number 26. So let's get into it. Dark Knight versus Constantine. I think probably unanimous, although I think Constantine was a really great film.
It was a good film. Yes.
Made in 32, but we're talking about the Dark Knight here.
Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
beat any of the Chris Nolan Batman movies.
No,
Okay.
no. I think it's
I will
Jet-
tell you that. I will tell you that Constantine was like, it was like a good take on it, but it's
Yes.
not.
No.
But yeah,
No.
no, we picked the right one.
Damn, man, you got another hard one right here. Jesus Christ, man.
It's not hard
Because
for me.
I distinctly remember Dr. Brentley and I went to like Man Chinese Theater with another good friend of ours who throws things at television sets. And I remember the end of that movie because he's like, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute, don't leave, don't leave. It just blew his mind and everything. I don't know if that's the first in like end sequence or end of the movie sequence kind of thing that's been done,
No.
but I know it just blew people's minds. Infinity War, wow. This is probably one of the hardest ones. I loved Infinity War. I thought it ended well, but I think Iron Man's just a classic movie. I can watch it 100 times. I can watch Infinity War. I think I've watched that maybe 10 or 15 times, but every time Iron Man's on, it's a perfect film, even with the different roadie.
That's the only thing that I was gonna say. Terrence Howard has this one up for me, man.
Like if you're Terrence Howard,
That's what got you.
like if you're Terrence Howard,
Yeah.
you need to fire anybody that was your agent at that time.
I'm going
Anyone
with Infinity War. If Don
Okay.
Cheadle was on the poster, I would go with Iron Man, but that ruins it for me.
I have to go with Infinity War. I
Okay.
think over Iron Man.
I'm willing to debate on you on the scenario. I think it's extremely tough. I just think that Iron Man's one of those films that it just launched the new wave of Marvel films. And look, we were like, Iron Man, are they out of their minds? And then I remember I see that sequence with the two F-14s, and I was like, John Favreau directed this? Like, it was just a blown kind of scenario, but I can be pulled either way, man. It doesn't matter to me.
Well, mine's Iron Man.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was gonna say what pretty much you said. Like, I think Infinity War was great, but like Iron Man, it's like the first of its kind. The story was actually pretty well done, and it was written well and made well, and it was like probably one of the biggest chances taken on a film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
whether or not the critics like it or not, because
I think you're gonna have to do the tiebreaker on this one.
yeah.
So are you
Chris,
saying, Mr. Storm, are you saying Iron Man? Are you
I-
switching
I-
your vote? I mean, you can.
I gotta say Iron Man, man. I'm just
Okay.
It's
All
the
right.
first, and it's the best.
See, I will say Iron Man is like 90% fantastic. There's some problems here and
Of
there,
course.
especially towards the end. You know, it's not the great ending. Infinity War has one of the best endings where the bad guy wins and good night and go home.
Well,
you know?
I'm going to debate you on that because
that shocks you.
that ending, I saw you in the theater when he goes, "I am Iron Man." He was like, "Holy fuck!"
Well, yes, that's fantastic.
You say the ending comes up short?
No. But compared to Infinity War, that's something
Hope is lost. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like it was almost walking out of a funeral.
Tony Stark was up in the space and he snapped his fingers and half the Avengers disappeared. So
yeah, it's a tough one.
Let's go to Rotten Tomatoes real quick.
Yeah,
maybe we can influence you. So Iron Man 94%, critics 91%, audience. Avengers Infinity War 85% critics and 92% audience. So the critics definitely liked Iron Man better, and the fan audience was pretty similar.
Well, and Infinity War though is going to blow it away box office.
Yeah, we don't even. Have to look at
obviously,
that. We don't have to look at that.
Danger Russ says Iron Man in the comments.
All right, Danger Russ
as a tiebreaker.
Team Iron Man.
I don't care about Danger Russ. I think Avengers.
Yeah,
Danger
Russ.
Sure
Chet didn't just go online and make a.
It's Avengers Infinity War.
Let's see. Yeah, Clint Beastwood said Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. We'll listen to the fans. Thanks for tuning in. Next is the Mask of Phantasm.
So mad about it.
Batman, the animated film. And Spider-Man No Way Home.
Look,
I mean,
it's an easy one for me. Although I love Massive Phantasm, but No Way Home was probably one of the best Marvel films in the last decade. And it was a Marvel Sony kind of film, I guess you would say. So, yeah, No Way Home has got it for me. You can't clean up all of Sony's mess, and you did. Like, it was amazing. They redeemed all kind of unredeemable characters. It was fantastic.
Yep. And
Spider-Man.
that's when Jonathan Majors was still relevant too. So
it was. I wish there's a multiverse for him at the moment. I'm sure he thinks it too.
Go back in time. Dr. Brantley, Chet, are we
Spider-Man? As Batman Mask of the Phantasm is one of the best Batman movies, but Spider-Man.
Okay. All right. Next up, The Crow versus X2.
You know what? As much as I love Brandon Lee's performance, and it's a shame that we never got to see him do anything else after that. X2 was probably, I think, a little bit more iconic than The Crow. And also we'll have to go offline about this, but our smashing phone friend, there was almost been a fight in Westwood due to at the end of this movie. Actually, I'll be honest with you, UCLA bar. I'll tell you that.
It's tough because I think The Crow was a cool.
It is
a darker take on a comic book franchise that was lesser known. So I really like The Crow, but I think X2 was just a bit of a better movie.
X2 is one of the best sequels ever done because it vastly improved on the first one.
Oh, yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yes,
and just bringing all those characters together and actually giving them all something to do. X2.
Yep.
And I saw Clint's comment. He's absolutely right. I think The Crow falls into our memories because of such a tragedy for Brandon Lee. It's kind of like one and the other. So it always stays in your mind about the what ifs if he had another shot at that role.
That's true. Black Panther versus Logan.
God, you got to make this for me. It's a no brainer, but it's tough. But look, the Black Panther was the most culturally relevant film in Marvel's history, and as a there's only 5 or 6 people of color in the Marvel universe that mattered. This movie I had waited my entire life to see, and it was absolutely it exceeded my expectations 100%. It was the great representation of what it could be to be like a king, and I've got to say, and it's not the tragedy of what happened to Chadwick Boseman, but if there was ever a part that was written for a person that was perfect, like Christopher Reeves and Superman, this movie was written for Chadwick Boseman. It has to be the Black Panther for me, man.
Yeah,
that movie had white kids everywhere going Wakanda forever.
Yeah,
so
good.
It's Black Panther, as good as Logan is.
Logan was great, but
by the way, James Mangold, he can make some movies though.
He can.
I'm excited about it. I'm excited
until
for
it gets to Indiana Jones.
Let's see
but
what he does with Star Wars.
Yeah,
Let's see what he does with Star Wars. No,
a little
not
redemption.
excited. Okay,
Not now.
All right. Black Panther wins here, and oh boy,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the
knew
original film, and Captain America: Winter Soldier.
No,
I loved the Mutant Turtles. I went to the theater to see them too, and I thought that Jim Henson's mechanics and everything was fantastic on those. He really brought those characters to life for something that we had only really seen the anime form.
And that's why I won.
But the Winter Soldier is probably like the Dark Knight. It's not just a superhero movie. It's an actual world-toting espionage film in disguise. Winter Soldier is probably... I would give you that. Winter Soldier is probably also one of the best sequels. I put it on the same level of like Empire Strikes Back and everything else like that. It was better than the first movie.
Yeah.
And it just... Come on. Like again, it had great sequences. It's the Winter Soldier for me, man.
Winter Soldier. I think my favorite Marvel movie, even with Endgame and Infinity War and Spider-Man. This one I love. What was it? Nick Fury in the car chase. That's one of the best car chases I've seen. I absolutely loved it.
I wish that Ninja Turtles was in a different category than this film, but unfortunately, brother, I'm sorry, chat. I got to go Winter Soldier.
I'm a massive Ninja Turtles fan, but inevitably it was going to be defeated.
Yeah, I mean, I'm being stubborn, but if you want my real vote, it's Winter Soldier. I don't think that they've been able to capture what Winter Soldier did, because Winter Soldier for me just happened to be a comic book hero movie. It just happened to be like, we could only write something this cool if it was like a superhero. Captain America makes sense. I haven't felt like they've done anything like that up until like Black Panther. But I think like, yeah, it's just impact. Like, I'm always gonna say Ninja Turtles over anything, but this has to go to Captain America because it's just like all around movie is like unreal.
Robert Redford.
Yeah,
I mean,
This is tough one for me.
This is really tough for me because I really feel like these are on the exact same level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because
the only difference is that X-Men Days of Future Past was one of those films that cleaned up all the junk that that the other previous X-Men films, and actually the funny thing about it was there's always an offline X-Men 3 film when we were sitting in Man Chinese Theater. Man Chinese Theater with the director and Courtney Love in the theater. It was an interesting night, I will tell you that. But they did clean up all the mess, and I thought Magneto was absolutely magnificent in that film. But the Avengers film was, I never thought I was going to ever see the Avengers ever go to the screen, and it was worth every bit of my box office dollars on that one, man. It's the Avengers are probably one of the better Marvel mid movies from everything that they've done. So I got to say the Avengers for me.
Yeah, around 2012, I was like,
"Thank you, Dangerous.
What's wrong with all these movies?" I felt like maybe I was getting too old and didn't have any kind of joy anymore. And then I saw the Avengers, and I was like, "Oh no! Someone does know how to make a movie. It's not me. It's everyone else. It's Hollywood. They've been screwing this stuff up." Avengers, I was so excited about and saw it a couple times in a theater.
Yeah,
Avengers
I think it's Avengers, other than Thor's eyebrows being dyed blonde, and they figured that out. That's the second one. That's the only error that they made throughout that film. As much as I love X-Men Days of Future Past, and both of these films had incredible acting as well in it for comic book. I love the Magneto character. I love the different takes of Professor X, but I think ultimately Avengers was just a better film. Okay, all in agreement, chat?
Yeah, I mean,
right.
This is tough.
Well, let's put it like this.
It's not tough at all, my friend. Blade. You talk about the first to say comic book films and lesser known characters can work.
Yeah, no,
Blade was the coolest damn film I saw. When I saw Blade, man, I walked out of the theater going, God damn! Like, Blade is that?
Yeah, Blade is still good to watch, which people don't know.
Dude, I'll watch it all day long.
You just watch it again. You're like, yeah, this is good. And then the video game.
I can't wait to see that too.
Video game's coming out.
Look, Stephen Norrington unfortunately didn't have a good run in Hollywood because this was like, one of those films where I think he got the perfect first film, and then he just went into the tragic Hollywood crap that just goes when you make movies. But this one was such a least known character, except for to myself, because I was sitting in the theater, and when I saw him jump over the Marvel logo, I was like, "That's Blade," and like my buddy was like, "How do you know that? There's only like 5 characters in all of Marvel that's black, brother." Of course, I know who he is and everything. Wesley Snipes does a fantastic job, and damn it, I want a Charger just like that.
And Blade to this day still has one of the best opening scenes of all time.
Yes.
Absolutely, brother.
That is correct.
Not one drop of blood on the Daywalker.
And as much as Sin City was a cool movie aesthetically,
Great film.
It doesn't hold the candle to Blade, in my opinion.
No.
Yeah, it's not. It shouldn't even be. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. All right, Dark
This
Knight
is-
versus
I-
Iron Man.
Well, this one
I'm not-
no brainer. I'm sorry. This one's got to be the Dark Knight, brother.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
budging.
It is a superhero crime thriller. It defines genre. You know, Heath Ledger's performance,
dude. I will never not pick this movie over another movie.
No,
because the marketing was fantastic on this. It was so good. I thought the movie was going to be bad. Like I remember going to see this movie 5 times opening weekend, Irvine Spectrum at the IMAX.
Well,
5 times.
I remember we saw the same thing, IMAX, because we went to go see I Am Legend, and they showed the only reason why you got to go see I Am Legend. They gave
to
you
see
like
the opening
spot,
scene.
open this, and when I saw that, I was like, "This has got to be one of the greatest openings that I've ever seen." The films, I'm like, I can't wait to see this movie. And then we saw the Dark Knight in the Man's Chinese Theater at like it's like what midnight, and then somebody pulled a fire alarm in the movie, and then they restarted the movie at 3:45. I had to be at work at 5 a.m. I went to work that same day after watching The Dark Knight. It's one of the best films.
And also, in the theater, the fire alarm goes off.
And
Not
nobody
one person moved.
People's like,
it's like, we're going to burn in this bitch because, it's like the lights came up and we're like, no, I'm staying.
Everybody smelling smoke, and he smoked shit. Just roll the theater.
No, I literally, honestly, like, if anyone's ever been to the Irvine Spectrum in California, like that IMAX line, I legitimately went and watched the movie, and then was like, I need to see this again, and just got right back in line, and I did that 5 times. Like, I couldn't get over this. And Heath Ledger, like, I agree with Clint Eastwood in the chat. I wish Heath was still around, because he would have been in the Joker movie, and it would have been a world of a difference. Like I mean,
I'll never forget. I watched the Midnight Film too. And do you want to see a magic trick pencil scene?
Yeah, absolutely.
Unreal.
The audience reaction was like, "Oh my!"
Well,
God.
I think you remember, because it was myself and our other buddy, and we laughed out loud, and people turned around and looked at us like, "Look at these 2 sick individuals in the theater." But it was like I didn't expect it.
Also, one of the coolest 5 seconds in cinema history when he rides the bat pod up against the wall, turns around, flips. Oh my God.
That's the best use of IMAX I think I've ever seen in a superhero film.
Yep.
So good. There's this one subtle scene when it's like that same sequence with the pencil trick, and he's got the I think it's Michael J. White says like, "You're sick," or "You're crazy," or whatever, and he's like kind of mumbling to himself. He's like, "No, I'm not." Like, and it was just like, damn, he is the Joker. Like that scene was like, this dude's the Joker. Like, and then you read like off camera, he's literally going to his trailer like the Joker and like being a psycho. I mean, geez. And best supporting actor for that performance. I mean, what other comic book film has ever anybody win best actor or best supporting actor in a comic book film?
I don't think so. Well, also there's
Angela Bassett in Wakanda Forever, but
not one, right?
Nope.
Yep. Okay, Spider-Man: No Way Home and X2.
Well, I like X2, but I think No Way Home did a great job on that multiverse. It just made all the sense, man. It was a great film, and I think it's rare to see 3 actors like that, because Tobey Maguire was the man, Andrew was definitely the man when he was doing the films, and Tom Holland, and they all just worked well together.
Yeah.
Spider-Man
Home. No Way X.
Black Panther and Captain America: Winter Soldier.
I'm gonna have to.
This is gonna kill me.
This is a tough one for sure.
Damn. I still
gotta
think
say Black
man.
Panther.
I still think Black Panther.
I have to go with Winter
Damn it,
Soldier.
Winter
I think.
Soldier.
I'm on Winter Soldier.
Jesus.
I say Black Panther.
Because
Well, we can't go with box office.
Hey,
We know which
Michael
one
B. Jordan, his performance was another level in that film, and that's in that fight, right, to determine, who's gonna be the ruler of the kingdom. Man, that was like an epic scene too. I remember watching that in the theater day one, and people were on the edge of their seat.
The first fight, yes, but the fight at the end was a little lackluster with the kind of bad CGI. Which that's the thing. Winter Soldier holds up all the way through the ending.
It does, but I'll give you the cultural significance of Black Panther rose bigger than anything that the Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier is a great sequel, but like this is like the main character in the Marvel universe that you kind of see, and it's always been under the scene. So I think that I saw people going to the theater in dashikis. I'm like, wow.
Okay, well, let's go to Rotten Tomatoes.
Captain
America: Winter Soldier, 90%. 90% critics, 92% audience. So 92 big scores for Cap and Black Panther. The critics score 96, but the audience was 79. So much lower audience score, but higher critic score.
So what's that? So you have to take the average then, right?
Yeah, and Black Panther is regarded as the best reviewed Rotten Tomato comic book film at 96%. That's the highest, I think, still, just based on critics. So audience like Captain America better. Critics like Black Panther better. Both pretty decent scores. So box office, should we pull that up too?
We know Black Panther beat
Black Panther.
Soldier.
Yeah, blue.
It was like $1 billion.
Black Panther bought 1.4 billion.
That's a lot of money.
1.4 billion. I'm just for my amusement. Let's see what the box office was. Wow, wait a minute. Civil War was 1.2 billion.
Oh,
so actually in the bees. So
well,
it's close.
Winter Soldier. Not Civil War.
Never mind. I put Civil War. Let's see.
Yeah, Winter Soldier is lower.
Yeah, good call. Only 714 million. So.
Which is kind of also a tragedy as well, too.
Yeah,
because it should be way more than that. But I still got to go with the Black Panther. But I'm sorry, I love the Winter Soldier. It is, but both of those films are in my top 2 in Marvel films. But the Black Panther is always number 1 for me, man.
I'm holding on Soldier.
Well, you can hold on Soldier. We got 1.4 billion, brother. You can hold it all you want.
Chet, are you being swayed either way, knowing the?
No, I mean, I'm going to stick with Captain America, but it's Black Panther. I mean, we got to, right?
Well, I mean, the audience favors Captain America, but the critics and box office say Black Panther. And I think if we're using 2 or 3, Black Panther takes it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it takes it. But look, I like to be completely honest with me. That's like same level. Each of them has like a massive impact culturally. You can't deny what Black Panther did, but if it's based on movie and not culture, that's kind of where I'm like that's where I'm leaning in, right? Like I think it's important to have culture. I agree with everything you say, Storm, about like Blade. You have Brother Voodoo. You had like all these. So Black Panther played like this massive role. It's just for me, movie wise, like with Dr. Brintley saying, Winter Soldier was just a all around there for me. So
I can totally respect it, brother. I totally respect it.
Okay, Avengers and Blade.
It's Blade.
I'm gonna go with Avengers.
I love the Blade film, but I didn't think I was gonna ever see Blade make the screen, but I damn sure didn't think Avengers could ever be done. And to put that many actors and characters, and and also through the third Incredible Hulk actor, and make it work.
Oh yeah.
It's and also they did a great job with the Black Widow was a character that was underutilized in even the comics, and they actually Scarlett Johansson did a great job. It's the Avengers for me. Although I'm sorry, Blade, I'm sorry, Stephen Norringham and Wesley Snipes, but it's got to be Avengers for me, man.
Yeah, as much as I love Blade,
I could get behind what you said. I didn't think about it that way.
As much as I love Blade, and it was like one of the first ever, it's Avengers.
So now we are going to come back to this though, because once Blade's video game comes out, Chris and I will come back and then make the decision based on which game was better.
I'll tell you right now, it's going to be Blade.
It's going to be Blade.
Avengers is already debunked, so we got to see how long Blade's going to come out.
Dark Knight versus No Way Home.
One for me. Dark Knight.
I'm never not going to pick it.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know now.
And Avengers and Black Panther.
Oh, God, I
love the size.
I love the King of Wakanda, but
Avengers.
I think Avengers it's even bigger. Like when it comes to relevance in the Marvel universe, I think it's
comic universe.
Yeah,
so I think it's Avengers.
I think Avengers was
Avengers.
Yep. And then it comes down to the final two on the right side bracket.
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
And Avengers.
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are down to the final two.
And this one's an easy
Dark
one.
Knight and Superman.
Yeah.
Although a man can fly.
He's no Dark Knight.
Heath Ledger hanging out the back of a squadron in pure insanity wins it every time for me, man.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
Batman can fly as long as he's got the plane going overhead, sent up the balloon.
And again, this movie, people fail to realize it broke genres. It's not a superhero movie.
Nope.
It is an actual crime thriller with like the whole thing with mobsters and everything else.
Yeah.
Like that scene where he's in China and he's on top of that roof and he goes
so
in.
Good.
Here's what I would say though. This was the first Joker movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was not. I don't think this is a Batman film.
Well, even that.
I think it was a Joker movie featuring Batman.
They even had Two-Face pop. This was the first time where it wasn't about Batman. It wasn't about Bruce Wayne. It wasn't about the Joker. It wasn't about Two-Face or the mob. This movie, everyone got the same amount of attention when it came to story, content, and what was going on. It's very hard to mix that many characters and get it right, because we saw like what Batman Forever couldn't pull that off. But like Christopher Nolan did a film where all the characters had something to do and they were equally as important to the entire process of the film. It is close to being, and I hate to use this terminology, a perfect film. And in fact, Dr. Brentley and I could say this 100 times. Damn it, I wish we wrote this.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Dark Knight,
you know what Dark Knight was for me? So it was a very welcoming surprise from the first Batman Begins. But I'll tell you why Dark Knight gets everybody. Because it's the first Batman movie, in my opinion, to be written as him being a detective.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very big for detective comics. And that coupled with the overpowering villains in the film, and each villain having their own truth was like.
And I'll be honest with you, people sleep on how great of a performance Michael Caine did in that movie.
Yeah,
because Michael Caine's an equalizer to the whole scenario, and you're like, wow. And the only other person I've ever seen do a great enough job was Jeremy Irons, and we won't get to see him repeat that performance before. But like, wow, Michael Caine is the gravitating force that just pulls that character even into a better situation. And also, you got to say Lucius Fox, where you have Morgan Freeman. Like, there's just so many great characters. Yep. Everyone had a great role, and they replaced an actress in the movie, and it still rolled in like it was like we didn't even think about it.
Well, we have gone through eliminations to condense to 32 of the best comic book films of all time. And we have now arrived at number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, The Dark Knight is your winner of the best comic book film of all time. The Shadow Crew podcast has voted. We appreciate all the folks that commented in the chat. For those of you who weren't watching live, if you have a take, if you disagree, if you think there should be another film here as the top, please comment. As always, like, subscribe, follow the channel. But again, congratulations to The Dark Knight. So, any last
Best award
thoughts?
you ever win.
Any last thoughts on this before we thank our sponsor? And
you know what, this was kind of tough because especially the second side of the bracket had more like wow, like there's a lot, and the thing I like about it as well is that there's a lot of films that were in the beginning of the superhero genre that still hold up to some of the ones in the later part of the genre. And it's like, look, the aspect about it is most of these films, are all rewatchable, so it just, every now and then when we can put something like this together, and we've never done the best of series. It took 2 weeks to do, but this subject deserved 2 weeks.
Someone's asking if your Black Panther mask light up.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It's hold on. Let me move out of the way. It's lighting up now. There you go, right there.
That's awesome.
There you go. Yeah, and I think also Chris has one in the background as well.
That's right.
And pretty soon you're going to see Captain America's shield back there too. Don't worry.
Nice.
It's coming. It's coming.
All right. Well, as always, we want to thank our sponsor, Mr. Storm.
Yes, our sponsor is, as always, Toys versus Games in Wilmington, California. People wonder why, it's like, why are there sponsors? Look, we just don't take corporate money all the time. I got to be honest with you, but we would every night of the week. But the reason why Toys versus Games does such a great scenario, they're a mom and pop store in a market where the Walmarts and the Targets and they're pushing out all these smaller stores. I know there was a retro rewind where you guys were talking about the KBs and the Toys R Us's. Well, Toys versus Games is essential into the business because when you can go into Target and Walmart and you can't find what you get, then you go down to a small store like Toys versus Games. You probably talk to an owner. They could probably see if they can, pick it up, or somehow reorder to get something for you. It's a closer connection. So that's why these stores are so vital. And, we are happy that they sponsor us because we want to draw people. That's what we are. We draw people to the smaller stores. We want to keep them around because we know it's essential. If there's any comic book stores out there or anyone else that wants to sponsor the small guy, hit us up. We will most definitely put you in. But this week, we're thinking Toys versus Game, Wilmington, California. Thank you for being our sponsor.
Awesome. And I hope you all enjoyed the best of series. Comment and let us know if you want us to do any other best of. We definitely enjoy doing it. Just as a reminder on the channel, not only to follow, but there's some really great new content that hits the channel. We got the Toy Box Chronicles with Mr. Storm and Mr. Maddox detailing the adventures of the G.I. Joe line and other topics of conversation. In addition, there's some past retrospects with Dr. Brantley and Mr. Storm chronicling some of the coolest stuff from horror genre to Christmas episodes, holiday episodes. So feel free to check those out. And, the world of wrestling is super hot right now. So we just had a live, thing hit the channel yesterday with the Tech Master. What the heck's going on in the world of wrestling and WrestleMania and The Rock's back and lots of interesting things to look forward to. Chet and I are doing a retro rewind, picking specific years in the 80s and early 90s, scrolling through the toy catalogs from Toys R Us, KBs, and just talking about stuff that we used to collect and stuff that we never had as kids, but are definitely interested in, and lots of other stuff. So please, again, if there's any other thoughts, comment, Again, subscribe. We appreciate you all tuning in. Any last thoughts before we adjourn?
Yeah, Danger Rush just says, do we have a link to this store? You can find them on Instagram, Toys versus Games, and it's Toys, TOYS, and then VS, and then Games, GAMES. You can find them on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in, folks. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Adios.
Later.